Hey, in this video, we're going to continue reading a little bit of Ortega y Gasset and his book from actually chapter 3 of his book, Man and People. Before we do that, I wanted to address some of the comments that were left, some pretty insightful comments. One was left by Drastam, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Drastam, and I think that the most I replied to the comment, but I think the most relevant point was um, it was a kind of a critical, I don't want to say complaint, but kind of a critical complaint about um, Ortega's writing, in that I think there was some miscommunication there. He was saying that a lot of Drastam's point was that a lot of our life, a lot of our living and acting, as he put it, is habitual and not uh, clearly given to a cogito or to a consciousness. I guess you could say it's subconscious or unconscious, a lot of it. And I'm going to read a part that actually just follows upon what we were reading, that explicitly acknowledges that. So it's important to keep reading Ortega. Very um, he's a very rewarding phenomenologist to read because of his clarity and because of his style and writing. Um, and then there was another comment. The second one was by Delocrates. I think that's right. Delocrates. Crates. He said that the reason that evolved life forms like human beings have reason is because reality is ultimately rational in nature. So, and then that was his basic point. And then he gives some tips on how to understand what we need to do to understand nature. And I'm sympathetic to this view up to a point, and I'm not sure how we would blend, um, come to an understanding. There are several philosophers you might choose from, or different points of departure which you might take conceptually. Whitehead, I think, develops a metaphysics which is rational in nature and yet wants to embrace the level of feeling, which is sort of the most elemental, what he calls actual occasions. And then that there are these the modes in which these actual occasions are together, or through the different relations that they can have, such as concrescence, or I guess for him an actual occasion. I guess the world is like a nexus of events, as I understand it, and they're always in process. And I think that they're made up of these sort of interweaving of actual occasions, which are the most basic elemental forms of reality. And what an actual occasion is that um, Whitehead doesn't go into. I don't want to go too deep into this, but Whitehead doesn't succumb to either a monism or um, uh, where everything is one, nor a pure pluralism where everything is many, or even though he does say that the ultimate nature of reality is atomic. But from what I understand in his philosophy of organism, he wants to say that what things are is precisely the way that they like. So uh, what this cup is, and what I am, what you are, what all this is. If we can say that there are any individual beings, that you have to say that they are the way that they are organizing. So there's a process, a temporal event going on. It's the way that we are organizing our relations to each other. So that's what a thing is sort of like all of this, all the notes of a melody come together, and what a thing is the sort of process that keeps it generated, and through which it interacts with all the reality around it in a way that it organizes other things and the way things affect it and organize it. Anyway, also Gadamer is someone who endorses the ultimate rational nature of being or reality, and that language and being kind of go together, but that we're all seeing the one self same reality, whether you were born in the Middle Ages or whether you were born today or 100 years from now. We would all be seeing one self same reality, but we would be seeing it from different perspectives, just as you see all the different perspectives of this cell phone. Um, and all the different takes you can have on it. Um, we're all seeing one self same reality, but we're seeing different aspects of it, and we're getting different interpretations of it depending on where we're standing. And that language can be more or less helpful to disclose those new aspects. And he sees basically human life is caught up in these nets, or what he calls logo-y, or which are discourses, but has many, many meanings. Of course, logo-y, he uses that. It can mean account, reason, discourse, etc. So we're caught up in all these discourses, and there's this sort of interconnected web, sort of like this is his interpretation of Plato combined with Heidegger, that we're all involved in these discourses about anything you could even speak about, and that for Plato, you talk about justice, you talk about there's the good, and then there's justice and beauty, and all of these different forms or ideas that you can talk about, and they're all related to each other. You can't take one out and separate it and talk about it really and do it justice, you might say, because all of them are tied together in this inextricable web. At least that's his interpretation of it. And there's a book called Beyond Being, in which that is clearly laid out, and I think well defended, and is truly a great, I think, explanation of a great interpretation of Plato. Okay, but to get back to Drastam, Drastam, and his comment, I know we've gone a little bit farther than I'd planned, but I wanted to get to the part where Ortega really emphasizes that, yeah, we're definitely not cogitos, for him. He's already explained that. And there's a lot to life and the radical plane of reality, which is non-conscious. So let me just pull that up here, and we'll cover that. We'll cover that um, in the next video. I'm sorry I didn't get to it, but we'll cut it short here.